These whispered lessons shown on this channel. If I had known.
If I had known, the night the hand wrote my judgment. I was born into greatness. From my earliest days, I walked through halls lined with gold and marble. Servants bowed when I passed. Soldiers stood at attention. Nobles spoke my name with respect, and enemies trembled at the mention of Babylon. I believed power was my birthright. The mighty walls of Babylon surrounded us like an unbreakable shield. They were so wide that chariots could race upon them. Our storehouses overflowed with food. Our treasury glittered with unimaginable wealth. The great Euphrates River flowed through our city, supplying us with everything we needed. Who could conquer Babylon? Who could challenge me? I thought myself untouchable. If I had known what awaited me, perhaps I would have lived differently. Perhaps I would have listened. Perhaps I would have humbled myself before the God I mocked. But pride is a dangerous companion. It whispers lies until a man believes he is greater than he truly is. And I believed every one of those lies. The Medes and Persians had surrounded our city. Their armies camped outside our walls. Yet I was not afraid. Why should I be? The city was secure. The enemy could not break through our defenses. So instead of preparing for battle, I prepared for a feast. A magnificent feast. 1,000 nobles gathered in my palace. Music echoed through the halls. Dancers entertained the guests. Wine flowed like rivers. Laughter filled the air. Men praised my greatness. Women admired my wealth. The sound of celebration drowned every warning. That night, I wanted to prove my power. I wanted everyone to know that Babylon still ruled the world. Then a reckless thought entered my mind. I remembered the sacred vessels taken from the temple in Jerusalem years earlier when King Nebuchadnezzar conquered Judah. Those vessels had been dedicated to the God of Israel, the God who had humbled kings, the God who had revealed mysteries, the God whom my grandfather had eventually acknowledged. But I did not fear him. I ordered my servants to bring the sacred cups and bowls into the banquet hall. The servants hesitated. I could see uncertainty in their eyes. Yet none dared question my command. Soon the golden vessels stood before me. Beautiful, sacred, untouched for years. I lifted one of the cups high above my head. The crowd cheered. I drank from it. Then my nobles drank. My wives drank. My concubines drank. Together we praised our idols of gold, silver, bronze, iron, wood, and stone. We mocked the God of heaven. We turned holy things into instruments of arrogance. At that moment, I felt powerful. I felt victorious. I felt immortal. If I had known what was about to happen, I would have fallen to my knees immediately. Suddenly, the music stopped. The laughter faded. A strange silence swept across the hall. I looked around in confusion. Then I saw it. A hand. Not a man. Not a soldier. Not a servant. Only a hand. Appearing out of nowhere. Writing on the palace wall. Every eye in the room fixed upon it. No one moved. No one spoke. The fingers carved glowing words into the plaster beside the lampstand. I felt my blood turn cold. My heart pounded against my chest. The cup slipped from my hand. My knees shook uncontrollably. The confidence that had filled me moments earlier vanished like smoke. Fear seized me. Real fear. Not fear of armies. Not fear of rebellion. Fear of divine judgment. I knew immediately that this was no ordinary sign. The God I had mocked was speaking. But what did the words mean? I called for my wise men. The astrologers rushed forward. The magicians examined the writing. The scholars debated its meaning. Yet none could explain it. Not one. The room grew more anxious with every passing moment. My terror increased. For what is more frightening than a message from heaven that no one can understand? Then the queen spoke. She reminded me of a man named Daniel, an old exile from Judah, a man known for wisdom, a man who had interpreted dreams for Nebuchadnezzar, a man who served the God I had dishonored. Daniel was summoned. When he entered the hall, he was calm. Everyone else trembled. Daniel did not. I offered him wealth. I offered him honor. I offered him promotion, but he seemed unmoved by all of it. Then he began to speak. His words pierced my heart. He reminded me of Nebuchadnezzar, how the Most High God had given him power, how pride had corrupted him, how God had humbled him until he acknowledged heaven's authority. Then Daniel looked directly at me. I shall never forget his words. You knew all this. Those words hurt more than any sword. I knew. I knew the history. I knew the warnings. I knew what God had done before. Yet I ignored everything. Knowledge had not produced wisdom. Privilege had not produced humility. Power had not produced gratitude. Instead, I exalted myself against heaven. Then Daniel revealed the meaning of the writing. Emiani, God had numbered my days. My kingdom had reached its end. Tekel, I had been weighed in the balances. I had been found wanting. Paris, my kingdom would be divided and given to the Medes and Persians. The judgment was final. The sentence was irreversible. Heaven had spoken. My fate was sealed. I wanted another chance. I wanted more time. I wanted one more year. One more month. One more day. But judgment had already arrived. The feast continued, yet no one celebrated. The music played, yet no one listened. The wine flowed, yet no one enjoyed it. A shadow of doom covered the palace. I could not escape the words. Numbered, weighed, divided. They echoed in my mind throughout the night. Then the impossible happened. The Medes and Persians entered Babylon. While we celebrated, they executed their plan. While we drank wine, they prepared conquest. While we praised idols, they advanced toward victory. The city I thought was invincible was breached. The kingdom I thought was eternal was collapsing. The power I trusted could not save me. Soldiers stormed the palace. Cries filled the corridors. The sound of battle replaced the sound of music. Terror spread through every room. And then death arrived, just as Daniel had declared, just as the writing had warned, just as God had spoken. That very night my kingdom was taken from me. That very night my life ended. That very night Babylon fell. If I had known that my final day would arrive so suddenly, I would not have mocked God. If I had known that judgment was standing at the door, I would have sought mercy instead of applause. If I had known that earthly power could disappear in a single night, I would have treasured humility more than prestige. But perhaps the greatest tragedy is this. I didn't know. The warnings were there. The history was there. The testimony of Nebuchadnezzar was there. The example of Daniel was there. The evidence of God's power was there. Yet I ignored it all. That is the danger of pride. It blinds a person until the truth becomes impossible to see. My story is not merely about a king who lost a kingdom. It is about a man who had every warning and still refused to listen. Today, if you hear God's voice, do not harden your heart as I did. Do not wait for the handwriting on the wall. Do not wait for your final night. Do not trust in wealth, success, position, or power. These things can disappear in a moment. Honor God while there is still time. Humble yourself before Him while mercy is available. Learn from my failure. Remember my warning. Because if I had known, or rather, if I had listened to what I already knew, my story might have ended differently. But the writing was on the wall, and that night, my kingdom was taken away forever. Thank you for choosing If I Had Known YouTube channel, where you find life-changing stories. Subscribe, like, and share to your friends. And never miss next episode.